sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out. No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable. But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms. Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
WINS, WINS-HD, WNAW-HD for New York.
A radio.com station. 10 winds, AccuWeather, some more drizzle continuing this afternoon. That'll last through the evening and a high of 44 degrees. Real feels in the raw 30s, though. And then it stays cloudy for tonight with a low down to 40. Tomorrow it gets mostly sunny and it turns out pretty nice with a high of 57 degrees. Wednesday, some rain on the way again with a high of 48 right now. Light rain and 38. More people get their news from 10 winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Emma Jimenez is our service aide, and Justin Traeger is our writer. I'm Bridget Quinn.
All news, all the time. This is 10 Winds. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. It's 38 degrees at 3 o'clock. I'm Larry Cantor, and here's what's happening. 16,000 new cases of coronavirus in New York today, about 1,000 in New Jersey. Mayor de Blasio says the president seemed receptive to his plea for more medical supplies, but he'll believe it when he sees it. Governor Murphy talks about citing people who show disregard for social distancing instructions. Senator Amy Klobuchar's husband tests positive. 10 winds, AccuWeather, rain this evening, mostly cloudy overnight, some sun tomorrow.
This is Andrew O'Day of Bloomberg. Actions by the Fed, the G20, and it was hoped Congress softened the worst losses for stocks for a while today, but the effect didn't last. The Dow down 653.
Winds News Time 3:01. From the 10 Winds Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
Well, we go to the northbound West Side Highway. We are still looking at an accident getting it through that area. You've got at least one, if not two lanes knocked out of service. Stay with Riverside Drive or the avenues on the west side, the better east side of town. That does the job just fine. That's what you get on days like this. Plenty of options. Eastbound side of the Belts flow getting out towards Sunrise Highway. So if you can stay with South Conduit Avenue instead the entire stretch, you're going to find a better ride. Recovery continues on the eastbound crossroads, right off of George. En route to the Sheridan, earlier accident is gone. Southbound Egan, eastbound Brockner Combo, that already treats you better. Alternate side suspended in the city through at least tomorrow. They are expected to reassess at some point today or early tomorrow to decide if that continues. North of the city, to cross Westchester, the Thruway, the Mario Cuomo Bridge, take it slow. Those roads are going to freeze over quicker than usual with the falling precipitation. And the inbound George, again, in pretty good shape. Staten Island Ferry during rush hour, they dropped 4 boats an hour to 3. And the C trains are suspended today. The A train goes local instead. I'm Greg Rice on 10 Winds.
And this report is sponsored by Security Dodge. Take up to $12,000 off of MSRP on select 2020 Ram trucks, only at Suffolk County's largest Security Dodge. The absolute best zero-down leases available on every vehicle. For program details, shop 24/7 online at securitydodge.com during Ram Truck Month. Winds News Time 3:03. Governor Cuomo took a tour of the Javits Center this afternoon, where FEMA is going to set up 4 field hospitals to help handle the expected overflow of coronavirus cases.
This is going to get much worse before it gets better. We are still in the relative calm before the storm. You're going to see the number of infections, the number of cases increase dramatically. You are going to see an overcapacity of our health system.
FEMA has committed to 1,000 beds. After looking around the Javits Center, though, Governor Cuomo says he thinks it can handle twice that. Here are the latest numbers from the governor on coronavirus. 78,000 people tested, 20,000 of them tested positive. 12,000 of those positives are in New York City. The hospitalization rate is holding at 13%. 157 people have died in New York. At a briefing earlier today in Albany, he reemphasized the need for more hospital beds, ventilators, and other supplies for local hospitals. And he talked about New York testing experimental drugs.
I also asked for the FDA to expedite the approval of an experimental drug that we are working on here in the state of New York. And the president also did that. The FDA gave the New York State Department of Health approval to use on a compassionate care basis a drug that we think has real possibility.
The mayor tells 1010 Winds he's hopeful federal help will arrive soon, but he'll believe it when he sees it.
The mayor says he had a detailed conversation last night with the president and vice president, emphasizing not just the need for critical medical supplies, which could run out in days.
The fact that we're going to need a lot more medical personnel going forward, the fact that we must have this stimulus bill support private hospitals and public hospitals that are not going to be able to provide services to people unless we get federal direct aid.
He tells 1010 Winds Elmhurst Hospital has been especially strange because Queens has fewer hospitals per capita, and Queens as a borough is seeing a lot of cases right now. He says the NYPD is already enforcing social distancing in public places like parks.
What Commissioner Shea wants to do at first is educate people, warn people, remind people to keep moving.
And he says he's hopeful people will understand and tougher measures like closures or arrests won't be needed. The mayor is also expected to announce a plan to release about 200 jail inmates, like those with certain health conditions, those deemed least likely to reoffend, and those nearly at the end of their sentences. Sonia Rincon, 1010 Winds News.
Checking AccuWeather. Rain and drizzle continuing into this evening, then mostly cloudy tonight, a low 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, turning milder, a high 57. It's 38 degrees, light rain, humidity 92%, winds east at 8 miles an hour. Repeating the current temperature, 38. We're heading down to 35 or 40. Winds News Time, 3:06. And with us on the live line now is Laura Cooley, the coordinator of something called Shopping Angels. Laura, what are Shopping Angels?
Hi, Larry. Shopping Angels is an organization of volunteers that was founded in Nevada, and it's spread now nationwide and internationally. We provide shopping services to at-risk people who cannot leave their homes. And our volunteers will find out what the people need, to go to the stores, and hopefully get it and deliver it. We have over 200 volunteers in the New York area, and more joining every day. What we need now is people to contact us with their needs.
Has the operation changed at all with coronavirus?
Well, we are doing the best we can to keep our volunteers safe. We have established safety protocol, and everybody's trying to follow as best we can with the gloves and the mask.
I know that people who deliver food here in New York are now being told to leave it outside the door. Are you doing the same?
Yes, we are. We are leaving the food outside the door, and hopefully our volunteers are able to have communication with the recipients, that they have an open line and they can get the food and get the payments and whatever taken care of.
If somebody hearing us now wants to become a volunteer, how do they get in touch?
The best way is to go to the Shopping Angels Facebook page. There's a form there for volunteers and for those who need assistance. All they have to do is fill out the form and they'll be added to the list.
Very good. Laura Cooley, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Larry.
Winds News Time, 3:08. In New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy has updated the totals there. There are now more than 2,800 confirmed cases.
Sadly, we have 7 more COVID-19 related deaths to report. And as always, these families, these lost souls are in our prayers. God bless each and every one of them.
The total number of coronavirus deaths in New Jersey is now 27. Two more drive-through testing centers came online today in New Jersey. One opened this morning in Holmdel and quickly reached capacity. The other's in Union. It's for Union County residents only and only by appointment through a doctor. The one in Paramus that opened last Friday was swamped again this morning. It shut down after about 400 cars made it through. The governor says he's talked with President Trump and, as Governor Cuomo has done, emphasized the need for masks, gowns, gloves, and ventilators. Hospitals are also accepting donations.
Hospitals across our area are saying they can't wait for government help, even though that probably is coming eventually. They're taking to social media for the public's help. Valley Hospital, for example, taking to Facebook, saying they need surgical masks, face shields or goggles, non-latex gloves, and isolation gowns that are waterproof for people to drop them off in front of the hospital in Ridgewood between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. 10 minutes away here in Teaneck at Holy Name, this hospital is saying they only have 4 days' supply of masks remaining, and they're already completely out of disposable gowns as the crisis intensifies. In fact, Holy Name CEO remains quarantined at home, already testing positive for coronavirus. And how can you help Holy Name? It's helpholyname.org for financial contributions or to arrange pickup of supplies. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, here in Teaneck in Bergen County.
Wins News Time, 3:10. Traffic and AccuWeather in 1 minute.
It's Macy's VIP sale with an extra 30% off designers that rarely go on sale when you use your coupon or Macy's card. That's big savings on the season's best trends, like head-to-toe neutrals, modern florals, hops of coral, and more. Plus, use your coupon to take 15% off beauty, too. Or check out great spring specials for you, your family, and your home. Plus, everyone gets free shipping on purchases of $25 or more now at Macy's.com. Savings off regular and sale prices, excluding supply.
When you go to the mechanic in here,
Pass me the torque, right? Nope, let me have the flamethrower.
that sounds wrong. You know what else sounds wrong? When you hear about the interest they're earning on your savings with the largest banks. But with the Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account, you could earn much more interest. And hear this. Open a Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account in minutes at Markets.com. You can money.
Comparison made to the three largest U.S. banks measured by total deposits. Rates as of February 4th, 2020 and may vary by state. Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC.
Wins News Time, 3:11. From the Mavis Discount Tire Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
We go back to the west side of town. This is the northbound west side highway after 79th Street. You had an accident. 2 lanes are knocked out. This will slow you down to the 70s. You got options, though. Riverside Drive or the avenues on the west side to get you uptown better, as does everything along the east side of Manhattan. The eastbound side of the belt, a bit slow getting over to Sunrise Highway as they clear away an accident. You stay with South Conduit Avenue, you get towards Nassau in much better shape. Jersey, there's a crash on the southbound Parkway. This is exit 138 in Kenilworth, and you have at least the left lane knocked out getting through the area. Back in Queens, getting over to the back up westbound on the LY, getting over to Casino Boulevard. That accidental knocked out a lane. If you're not in front, go to the Grand Central instead. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Very little. The only thing you really need to keep in mind, right off of the inbound George, maybe a touch slow in the eastbound cross Bronx with earlier issues. Southbound Beacon, eastbound Bluffner combo is better. Alternate side suspended in the city for at least tomorrow. Traffic sponsored by MajorWorld.com. Buying a car with your tax refund stop. Don't get ripped off by wasting your refund. Paying huge dealer fees at Major World. You'll only pay $75 in dealer fees. Major World is straight up honest pricing. Visit MajorWorld.com or call 1-800-MAJOR-AUTO. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 West.
Now the AccuWeather 4-day forecast. Here's meteorologist Dave Bowers with a live report.
Well, Larry, we've got the rain falling here. The rain and drizzle is going to continue into the evening hours before this storm moves away from the coast. And then later at the night, just leftover clouds. Chilly will be in the mid-30s at daybreak. But with high pressure nosing into here tomorrow, it's going to be a much nicer day. Partly sunny, milder, high about 55. Clouds come back tomorrow night, and Wednesday we got another storm to deal with. More rain, cooler, high only in the mid-40s. And that in turn leaves, and we have a dry day on Thursday. Clouds and sun with a high 55. 39 degrees and raining in Central Park with the northeast wind at 14. Repeating the current temperature 39 going down to 37 in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Dave Bowers on New York's weather station 1010 Winds.
This is Dr. Jan Schwartzmiller, Chief Medical Officer of Atlantic Health System, with important information concerning the coronavirus outbreak. If you're experiencing symptoms, including a fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and think you've been exposed to coronavirus, call your doctor. Atlantic Health also offers telehealth services staffed by expert physicians who are specifically trained in assisting coronavirus cases. Telehealth allows you to stay at home and visit the doctor virtually. Keep in mind, most people who contract coronavirus will experience mild symptoms and can self-manage from the comfort of their homes. Staying at home will allow you to recover faster and decrease the spread to others. We continuously urge you to follow preventive actions right now to limit the spread. Practice social distancing of 6 feet. Remember to wash your hands often. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Cover your cough and clean frequently touched surfaces routinely. For more information, visit atlantichealth.org.
It's time to go Poly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Jeans feel a bit of lard on your hips and thighs and those pants right on like a stream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. To get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils, like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/Face the Facts. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Facts campaign.
I'm Dr. Howard Zucker, New York State's Health Commissioner. The spread of novel coronavirus is a major public health challenge. Most of us can avoid illness by washing our hands often and avoiding people who are sick. But the elderly and people with existing health conditions should also avoid crowded places. We're working 24/7 on this evolving situation, so stay informed and don't be misled by rumors and false information. And most of all, please stay well. Visit ny.gov/coronavirus.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents, instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not on the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home. Get a virtual consultation. Visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com. Or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663.
Wednesday News Time 3:16. Republicans and Democrats are finger-pointing over how best to provide economic relief. Another effort to advance an economic stimulus bill has failed in the Senate.
The bill, which tops $1 trillion, includes money for individual taxpayers, small businesses, and large corporations. Louisiana Republican John Kennedy can't understand why Democrats have been standing in its way.
You know what the American people are thinking right now, Mr. President? They're thinking that this country was founded by geniuses, but is being run by a bunch of idiots.
Connecticut Democrat Chris Murphy says this is a policy dispute.
We don't think the bill that has been drafted by the majority party is going to fix the problem.
Senators are hoping to come to an agreement on a final bill sometime today or tonight and then send it to the House. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi isn't waiting. She's unveiling her own version of a stimulus bill.
The Senate Republican bill put corporations first, but because of the insistence of Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats, progress has been made. We urge the Senate to move closer to the values in the Take Responsibility for Workers and Families Act.
This has been the first day of all electronic trading at the New York Stock Exchange after some workers tested positive for coronavirus and traders were taken off the floor for the immediate future. Right now, the Dow is down 755 points, NASDAQ losing 88. We'll have the latest on the market coming up in Bloomberg Money Watch at 3:26. Minnesota Senator and former presidential candidate Amy Klobuchar says her husband has tested positive for coronavirus. She says John Klobuchar is in a hospital in Virginia with pneumonia. He's on oxygen, but not a ventilator. In a statement, she says she has been home in Minnesota and he's been in Washington, so she is outside the 14-day period for getting sick. As a result, her doctor has advised that she not get tested. 3 senators are now self-quarantined. Kentucky Republican Rand Paul has tested positive for the virus. GOP lawmakers Mitt Romney and Mike Lee of Utah said that they would self-quarantine because they spent time with Paul, but they are not showing any symptoms. Lee says he's not been tested. Romney's office said the senator would be. Two members of the House, Republican Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida and Democrat Ben McAdams of Utah, tested positive last week. At least 31 members of Congress have announced steps to self-quarantine or otherwise isolate themselves. Wayne's News Time, 3:19.
Now, a commercial message. This is Carter Conlon. Paul the Apostle said in 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." There's so much to be afraid about in this world today. And I think in particular today about the coronavirus that seems to be going from town to town, city to city, person to person, heart to heart. And so many people are afraid of the future. I want to challenge you today to turn to God and turn to Him with all your heart. You might be afraid, but there is a spirit that God is willing to give you, His Holy Spirit, His Word, His promise that will drive that spirit of fear out of your heart and give you a hope and give you a reason and a purpose and actually something to say to those who are of a fearful heart. You get it by praying. So today I remind you, it's time to pray.
Well, you know, a lot of you are working from home during the coronavirus outbreak. Stay connected to everything you need to know. Just tell your iPhone or home device to play 1010 Wins.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. It's 39 degrees at 3:20. I'm Larry Cantor, and here's what's happening. Governor Cuomo says the state now has more than 20,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus. 12,000 are in New York City. He's waiting for the city to send him its proposal to encourage more social distancing. The mayor says he'll have it later today. New Jersey adds another 1,000 cases of coronavirus and 7 more deaths. An American member of the International Olympic Committee says the Summer Games will be postponed. Details are being worked out. 1010 Winds AccuWeather. Rain this evening, mostly cloudy overnight, some sun tomorrow.
This is Andrew O'Day. Close eye on policy developments in response to the virus, and it doesn't like what it sees. Right now, the Dow losing 795.
Wayne's News Time, 3:21. From the 1010 Winds Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
Well, Larry, less drivers on the road doesn't mean everybody's a perfect driver all of a sudden. We're seeing that in Queens, where the westbound Long Island Expressway is subject to closure because of an accident. Maybe the left lane squeaks by. If you're not in a truck, squeak on over to the Grand Central instead. Eastbound side of the belt, at least 1, if not 2 lanes shut, getting over to Sunrise Highway. Also, the northbound West Side Highway in the 90s, accident knocks out at least 2 lanes. Riverside Drive or the avenues, they're better. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George, you're fine. No bad way out aside from that hiccup on the west side. Lincoln and Holland, they also behave at this hour. Alternate side suspended in the city through tomorrow at the very least. They're expected to reassess at some point between now and the end of tomorrow to see if they extend that. We are also looking at the C train suspension. Today the A trains go local instead. New Jersey Transit, they drop from a weekend into a holiday schedule, but the LIRR and Metro North, they are on a regular weekday schedule. Traffic sponsored by IncredibleImplants.com. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
The Popper Dental team of Midtown Manhattan offers an affordable, life-changing dental implant procedure. Life without gum irritation. Eat and smile and speak with renewed confidence. Visit IncredibleImplants.com and then check them out on Instagram at Popper Dental.
We've received coronavirus briefings from the governors of New York and New Jersey so far today. President Trump will come up later this afternoon. You'll hear him live here on 1010 Winds. Here's the situation in New York.
In anticipation of a wave of coronavirus patients, Governor Cuomo ordering hospitals to find more space.
Mandatory directive from the state. Find more beds, use more rooms. You must increase your capacity 50%.
His Albany briefing ahead of a trip to the Javits Center, where the feds are helping to set up a temporary hospital.
President Trump did deliver yesterday. That's government working. That's government working quickly, and I thank him for it.
But the governor again pushing for the president to order factories to produce more medical supplies.
Yes, it is an assertion of government power, but so what? This is a national emergency.
The governor defending his actions that all but shut down the New York economy, saying plans are in the works to eventually restart it. Al Jones, 1010 Wins News.
New York now has more than 20,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus, and more than 12,000 of them are in New York City. 157 deaths have been recorded in New York since the outbreak began. In New Jersey, Governor Murphy says more than 2,800 people have tested positive, 27 have died, and he says the state needs help from the federal government, and they need it now.
We are at the front lines. We're at the point of attack with folks who are sick and need health care, in some cases hospitalization, with workers who have lost their jobs, with small businesses in particular, businesses of all shapes and sizes that have impacted. We need to continue to do our job, and in order to do so, we need the federal government to come in with a big bucket of money.
He says law enforcement is going to start citing people who don't abide by the social distancing rules. And he says New Jersey schools will likely be closed for an extended period of time. Mayor de Blasio spoke with President Trump and Vice President Pence last night about the immediate need for more ventilators and other supplies at city hospitals. The mayor tells 1010 Wins he thinks they understood.
I went into a lot of detail for President Trump and Vice President Pence about the exact needs we had for ventilators, the fact that we're going to need a lot more medical personnel going forward, the fact that we must have this stimulus bill support private hospitals and public hospitals, that New York City and all sorts of localities are not going to be able to provide services to people unless we get federal direct aid.
He says they'll only know whether they understood him when the city receives what it needs. New York City school buildings are closed today, but learning should be happening. Here's correspondent Aaron Katursky.
Teachers are starting remote learning for students who have been out of school for more than a week. My second grader must log in for assignments that need to be completed and emailed to the teachers for review. She needs to complete a diorama for a social studies lesson that we need to photograph and share. School here is scheduled to be closed until at least April 20th and potentially for the remainder of the year.
President Trump tweeted today about the coronavirus and other matters. The U.S. Surgeon General warned that this is a pivotal week.
President Trump is treating his hopes on the 15-day period, which ends March 31st, as the time for Americans to slow the spread. On NBC's Today, Surgeon General Jerome Adams sounds the alarm about people not taking the need to stay at home seriously.
This week, it's going to get bad, and we really need to come together as a nation. Everyone needs to be taking the right steps right now, and that means stay at home.
While tweeting about concerns the economic lockdown might be a cure worse than the disease, the president has also done a lot of retweeting against the media, Democrats, and Joe Biden in particular. Bob Costantini, Washington.
Wins News Time 3:26 now. Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins. Here's Andrew O'Day.
As the Senate debates a massive COVID-19 rescue measure, it's still showing signs of stalemate amid disagreements between parties, and that's making Wall Street clearly nervous again. Dow down 825 inside the final trading hour. NASDAQ losing 124. S&P 500 off 96. Earlier, the U.S. Fed launched an aggressive new round of measures, including buying an unlimited amount of bonds to keep costs low and creating programs keeping credit flowing to states and local governments, as well as to companies. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day. 1010 Wins.
Wins News Time 3:27.
To all first responders and essential personnel.
We'd just like to say thank you to all the fantastic medical people who are having to go to their jobs and take care of everybody. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
We'll get through this together. Thank you from 1010 Wins.
Frontage Clinical Services, located in Secaucus, New Jersey, is looking for participants who are smokers to take part in a clinical study requiring 7 overnights at their research facility. Male and female participants between ages 21 to 65, call now 877-298-9071. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. to book an appointment. Upon completing the clinical research trial, each participant may receive up to $3,300. Call now 877-298-9071. Frontage Clinical Services is is looking for participants who are smokers to take part in a clinical study requiring 7 overnights at their research facility. Male and female participants between ages 21 to 65 call now 877-298-9071. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. to book an appointment. Upon completing the clinical research trial, each participant may receive up to $3,300. Call now 877-298-9071 to speak with a recruiter to see if you pre-qualify.
Right, indeed. We understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Reignite the frozen folded eggs and barely their baked in America, because Wendy's is now serving up breakfast, and it's gonna be America's favorite. I just don't know it yet. A few of my favorite things. Drive-through for your new favorites, like the breakfast baconator, frosty chino, and honey butter chicken biscuits, or get them delivered with Grubhub and Postmates. Order by 10 a.m. No delivery fee. Minimum $10 order offered in 4 states. Delivery available at participating points. Third-party service fees may apply. Grubhub and Postmates for details.
Ground Game is the latest podcast from the Associated Press. Hosted by AP's Julie Pace, Ground Game discusses election strategy all through primary season. Download it wherever you get your podcasts.
AccuWeather says some rain and drizzle continuing into this evening, then mostly cloudy overnight with a low 40. Tomorrow becoming mostly sunny and milder and high 57. Wednesday, cloudy and cooler again with rain, a high 48. Good afternoon. I'm Larry Cantor. Winds News Time at the Tone, 3:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Bridget Quinn. Governor Cuomo updated us on the New York State coronavirus numbers today, saying 20,875 cases overall statewide, more than 12,000 here in New York City. The governor issuing an emergency order requiring hospitals to increase capacity by 50%. And to that end, 4 hospitals are being built in Manhattan right at the Javits Center. More from ABC News. Stay-at-home orders expanding in more states as the nation tries to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Nearly 41,000 Americans have tested positive so far. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Joining a growing number of states now, Oregon's governor is ordering that residents stay home except for essential errands. It goes into effect immediately, ordering that businesses that are not essential close down and that gatherings with anybody outside of somebody's household are no longer allowed.
New York State has the most cases. The state's governor pushing for the president to invoke the Defense Production Act so more private businesses can make life-saving ventilators, which are in short supply across the country. General Motors says it's shifting gears to health.
General Motors using its car building expertise to help Bemtec Life Systems rapidly build more ventilators for hospitals running short. GM says it would build the life-sustaining devices at their Kokomo, Indiana factory. No word how quickly they can retool to do that.
ABC's Andy Fields, Michelle Franzen, ABC News. And coming up, we'll take a look at what's going on with the Olympics. But first, Winds News Time 3:31. Traffic and transit, and Greg Rice.
Well, Bridget, better news on the C trains. They're going to start running again, although not as frequent as usual. They're going to keep some A trains on the local tracks in the meantime. Again, C trains are going to start rolling again. Other mass transit changes to keep in mind during rush hour. We will see the Staten Island Ferry drop from 4 boats an hour down to 3 boats. So Staten Island Ferry and rush hour boats every 20 instead of every 15. And New Jersey Transit on an enhanced holiday schedule going forward 7 days a week. LIRR again, that is on or close, as is Metro North with regular weekday service. Westbound LI in Queens, getting over to Casino Boulevard, there is an accident. All lanes subject to closure and mess from the Clearview Grand Central Parkway. That is a much better ride if you're not in a truck. Traffic sponsored by 1-877-8-ABUSED. Were you abused? The law office of Phillips and Pellicelli is ready to hold childhood sexual predators accountable. The clergy, school districts, hospitals, speak to a lawyer at Phillips and Pellicelli now. Call 1-877-8-ABUSED. That's 1-877-8-ABUSED. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Wins.
Let's get the AccuWeather update, and for that we turn to meteorologist Dave Bowers.
Well, it's rain and drizzle here for the rest of the afternoon and into at least the early part of the evening. By around 8 o'clock or so, this will be pretty much done. Cold breeze to go along with that. Temperatures are not going to move much. We'll be around 37 in Midtown at daybreak. In the wake of the storm, though, we can look for a nicer day tomorrow. Milder, partly sunny, high about 55. Turns cloudy again tomorrow night. And then the next storm comes along with some more rain on Wednesday. That'll hold temperatures into the low to mid-40s. That in turn leaves, and we're back to dry weather Thursday. Clouds and sun at a high of 55. 39 degrees and raining right now in Central Park, going down to 37 in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Dave Bowers on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds.
Monday afternoon, Winds news time 3:33. Well, these numbers are staggering. Speaking live to 1010 Winds. This afternoon, City Controller Scott Stringer laid out the economic impact of coronavirus on New York City.
We're now seeing a $4.2 to $6 billion budget deficit as it relates to loss of tax revenue. And in real terms, that could mean a whole city budget of $1.5 billion. So we are betting big that the federal stimulus package will give enough relief to state and local governments. We need at least $250 billion nationwide.
Stringer had previously estimated losses of about $3.2 billion, but he says he is now presuming a wider economic downturn. Well, it seems like the Summer Olympics will not go on as planned in Tokyo, as a lot of people have been expecting. The International Olympic Committee, Dick Pond, is telling USA Today that the games will be postponed. This after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made this announcement.
Team Canada and the Canadian Paralympic team made the tough decision not to send athletes to the Olympic and Paralympic Games this summer. I know this is heartbreaking for so many people. Athletes, coaches, staff, and fans. But this was absolutely the right call.
Pound says the IOC will take the next 4 weeks to figure out the details of the delay, so suffice to say no new date yet for the Summer Olympics. MTA CEO Pat Foy says buses, subways, and commuter rails will continue to operate even if the region is directed to shelter in place. He says the number of MTA workers testing positive for coronavirus is now 30. Foy telling 1010 Winds this morning it'll be easier to keep your distance from other riders with rear door boarding on local and select buses.
We've implemented rear door boarding, which will minimize contact between passengers and bus operators and therefore minimize the risk to bus operators. Passengers will be asked to enter through the rear. The area around the bus driver will be cordoned off.
Foy says on express buses, commuters will not be allowed to occupy the first 3 rows to protect drivers. He says the MTA has increased the frequency and intensity of disinfecting trains, buses, and stations. Well, just as New York City has done, New Jersey is releasing some prisoners. The state's Chief Justice signed an order last night saying all people serving sentences in county jails can get out. That's as many as 1,000 people, though prosecutors could always challenge the release of certain prisoners if they're worried about public safety. The order does not commute anybody's sentences. That will have to be decided when the emergency is over. Entertainment news is coming up on 1010 Winds. Winds news time 3:37.
Somewhere out there's a man on a park bench eating his 500th PB&J. He has no idea Papa John's has new Papadillas that are way better than a boring sandwich. With Papa John's best meats, cheeses, and veggies hand-folded into a crispy flatbread crust. Someone better tell that man. Get a new Papadilla in 1 or 4 flavors for just $6. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's. Not valid with discounts, fees, and taxes. Extra prices made
It's Macy's VIP sale with an extra 30% off designers that rarely go on sale when you use your coupon or Macy's card. That's big savings on the season's best trends, like head-to-toe neutrals, modern florals, hops of coral, and more. Plus, use your coupon to save 50% off beauty, too. Or check out great spring specials for you, your family, and your home. Plus, everyone gets free shipping on purchases of $25 or more now at Macy's.com. Savings off regular and sale prices, excluding supply.
When you go to the mechanic in here,
Pass me the torque. No, let me have the flamethrower.
that sounds wrong. You know what else sounds wrong? When you hear about the interest they're earning on your savings with the largest banks. But with the Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account, you could earn much more interest. And hear this.
Open a Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account in minutes at markets.com. You can money.
Comparison rates of the three largest U.S. banks measured by total deposits. Rates as of February 4th, 2020 and may vary by state. Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC.
Wins News Time 3:38, time for 1010 Wins Entertainment. The new Woody Allen memoir is out. It's called Apropos of Nothing, and it was released quietly by Arcade Publishing, the book's original publisher, an imprint of Hachette, shelved it after an outcry by another one of its authors, none other than Allen's son, Ronan Farrow, which was accompanied by a walkout by dozens of employees at the company's Midtown headquarters. Tom Hanks and wife Rita Wilson say they feel better 2 weeks after first exhibiting coronavirus symptoms. Well, Hanks on Twitter reminded his followers of the importance of sheltering in place. They are still in Australia, where they had been on set shooting a movie about Elvis. Top stories are coming up next. Wins News Time 3:39.
If you were hurt at work, or if your job caused an injury or medical condition, you may be entitled to workers' compensation benefits, including medical coverage for your injury or illness and payment for lost wages. And if you worked before but can't anymore because of an injury or disability, job-related or not, you may be entitled to both money and medical insurance from the Social Security Administration. At the law offices of Samuel D. Flatt, located at 14717 Union Turnpike in Flushing, I represent the injured and disabled in workers' compensation and Social Security disability cases. I'm here to help. Call me at 718-544-2767. Again, that's 718-544-2767. The consultation is free and there's no fee unless your claim is successful. Remember, the insurance companies and the Social Security Administration employers working for them and against you. You should have someone on your side. Get the help you need. Call 718-544-2767. That's 718-544-2767. I'm here to help you.
Stay connected with us, and we'll help you get through this together. Tell your iPhone and smart devices to play 1010 Wins.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon, 39 degrees at 3:40. I'm Bridget Quinn. Here's what's happening. Governor Cuomo just visited the Javits Center this afternoon, where a temporary hospital is being set up. He says Javits might have room for as many as 2,000 beds. Governor Cuomo also reporting 157 deaths statewide, 20,875 cases overall, more than 12,000 here in the city. New Jersey's Governor Murphy spoke today as well, saying sadly there are 7 more deaths to report. He says testing centers will open again in the morning. And on Capitol Hill, the Senate still working on that stimulus package. AccuWeather says more rain and drizzle through the evening, and we'll feel staying in the dreary 30s.
This is Andrew O'Day of Bloomberg with stimulus action from Congress in limbo. Wall Street takes a tumble again today, Dow losing 801. Boeing suspends almost all airplane production.
Wins News Time 3:41, traffic and transit update time. Greg Rice, please.
Oh, Bridget, we've got some transit changes today. The C trains are getting back on track. Literally, they've been suspended all day up until now. They're still going a little slower than usual to get started, so the A trains, some of them, remain local to try to make up the difference. New Jersey Transit, we are still looking at them running on an enhanced holiday schedule, while the LIRR and Metro North run a usual weekday schedule. Staten Island Ferry now during rush hour, 3 boats an hour instead of 4. On Long Island, westbound side of the Long Island Expressway, rather in Queens over Casino Boulevard, that is an accident. You've got at least 1, if not 2 lanes knocked out. Grand Central Parkway, that goes better. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Not a whole lot. Good ride in or out of town on either side of Manhattan. Alternate side has been suspended in New York City through at least tomorrow. They are expected to reassess at some point between now and then to see if they wish to extend that and take it slow a little north of the city as across Westchester, the Thruway, and the Mario Cuomo. You're going to freeze over quicker than usual with less traffic on those roads. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Wins.
Well, as you heard on 1010 Wins this afternoon, Governor Cuomo held a news conference at the Javits Center where temporary hospitals are being set up by the Army Corps of Engineers.
What we're doing here at the Javits Center is constructing 4 emergency hospitals, federal emergency hospitals. Each one will have a capacity of about 250 people. You put the 4 together, that's 1,000 people.
Then Cuomo says Javits might have room for as many, ultimately, as 2,000 beds. This after earlier today, the governor announced he is ordering all hospitals to increase their bed capacity by 50%. Ultimately, he would like that to be 100%. And as for those numbers, New York, overall in the state, 20,875 cases, more than 12,000 in New York City. 13% of those cases, by the way, are people who've been hospitalized. And Cuomo says he has no second thoughts about doing zero non-essential workers. Mayor de Blasio tells 1010 Wins he had a detailed conversation with the president and the vice president, spelling out what the city needs: supplies, personnel, direct federal aid. Elmhurst Hospital may be under the most strain right now as it deals with COVID-19 activity. The mayor says that's in part because of where it is.
There's 2.3 million people in Queens and fewer hospitals proportionally than some other parts of the city. And also it's a surrounding community with very deep healthcare needs.
De Blasio tells 1010 Wins the NYPD is already out enforcing social distancing, not only in parks.
Grocery stores, pharmacies, wherever we see people congregating, we're going to remind people they have to spread out. We're not going to allow any place, outdoor or indoor, to have crowds.
And he's hoping education and warnings from the police will be enough that closures and arrests won't be necessary. The mayor is also expected to announce the plan to release certain jail inmates early, those nearly at the end of their sentences, those deemed least likely to reoffend, and those who are older or have health issues. Sonia Rincon, 1010 Wins News.
New Jersey Governor Murphy has announced 7 new deaths in his state, 935 additional positive cases, 2,844 total. And he made this announcement this afternoon about surgery.
I signed an executive order suspending all elective surgeries or invasive procedures, both medical and dental, effective at 5 p.m. this Friday, March 27. 5 p.m. this Friday, March 27. No operation that can be safely delayed as determined by a patient's doctor or dentist will be performed after this time.
Well, Murphy also says he had a one-on-one with the president, and he asked the president for 4 pop-up FEMA hospitals. 2 of the drive-through sites that opened today, Bergen and Homedale, had to close just a few hours in, but they will be reopening in the morning, says the governor. Still ahead, we'll take a look at what's doing on Capitol Hill with that stimulus package. Wins News Time, 3:45.
New Yorkers, stay home. By staying home, you are doing your part to slow the spread of coronavirus. Together, we can protect the most vulnerable and our healthcare workers. When you go out for essential needs, don't forget to keep your distance between yourself and others. Wash your hands well and often. Cover your nose and mouth when you sneeze or cough. For the latest information, text COVID to 692-692 or visit nyc.gov/coronavirus.
It's bold. It's beautiful. I'm talking about the blue CertaPro painters used to brighten up my home. Bridget Quinn here. Take it from me. CertaPro painters are prompt, neat, and ready to take care of any cracking, peeling, or chipping paint on the exterior of your home. So I recommend getting a free estimate at CertaPro.com. Certa with a C. Refresh and protect your home. Get on CertaPro's spring painting schedule today. That's CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters. We do painting, you do life. Health is a big concern for all of us. One of the best ways to improve your overall health is to lose that extra weight. And you can do it safely and quickly, even if you're stuck at home. No reason to delay. NJ Diet now offers live online video consultation. It only takes 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. Their contractually guaranteed program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen. You are fully monitored by their certified staff, and you'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet is all natural, no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. Locations throughout the tri-state, but even if you're stuck at home, there's absolutely no reason to delay losing weight and getting healthier. NJ Diet also does live online video consultations with one of their doctors or certified health professionals. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com.
Wins News Time 3:47. Still some rain around 39 degrees and going down to 35 overnight. We'll have AccuWeather details coming up. Another effort to move an economic stimulus forward has failed in the Senate, but negotiations continue over the nearly $2 billion rescue package. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says there's reason for hope.
We're very close to reaching a deal. Very close. And our goal is to reach a deal today. And we're hopeful, even confident, that we will meet that goal.
But Majority Leader Mitch McConnell took a different tone.
With the Federal Reserve announcing even further extraordinary steps today, the markets are tanking once again, as I said, because this body can't get its act together. And the only reason it can't get its act together is right over here on the other side of the aisle.
McConnell says Democrats added last-minute demands that derailed progress on the plan. It's unclear when a final vote might be happening. President Trump has a video message for Americans.
I just want to thank you as president. I want to thank you for the incredible job you're all doing. There's spirit in our country like never before. We pulled together as a unit. We pulled together as a country. We will prevail together. We love the USA.
Mr. Trump saying we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem at the end of a 15-day period we're in with all these restrictions. The president says we will make a decision about exactly which way we want to go. Alongside President Trump at those coronavirus briefings, of course, is Dr. Anthony Fauci. He tells Journal Science that there are challenges, including when the president says something that might not be accurate. He adds, I can't jump in front of a microphone and push him down, but let's try and get it corrected for the next time. Fauci says he does disagree with the president at times, that he has his own style, Fauci does, but he says on substantive issues, the president does listen to what he has to say. News time 3:49, California's order for home isolation has an exception for exercise, but it seems that too many people in L.A. took advantage of that.
Mayor Eric Garcetti took the TV like an angry parent to two toddlers in a tussle. Split up, get away from each other. I will not hesitate 1 second to absolutely will bring government to bear. After a weekend of ignoring the social distancing mandates, the mayor has now closed the parking lots to many beach and other destinations, and the mayors of other beach cities are doing the same. He's now telling law enforcement to enforce the mandate because, he says, to mandate flouting Angelenos, this is not about you, this is about saving lives. Jim Root, Los Angeles.
Well, the coronavirus has claimed another annual event. The White House Correspondents Association announced that it will postpone the dinner and awards ceremony, which was originally supposed to happen on April 25th. It tweeted it will be held on an alternative date to be determined. This year's host would have been comedian Kenan Thompson of SNL fame. President Trump, whose controversies with news media are well known, has not attended the Correspondents' Dinner for the past 3 years. While we're talking about Washington, in normal times, people will be flocking to D.C. to get a look at the iconic cherry blossoms, but social distancing has sadly put even that on hold. First Lady Melania Trump has a solution. She is suggesting going online to get a look at the tree. She tweeted the National Park Service has a live feed of different parts of the nation's capital where the trees were planted decades ago, and you can find that at #BloomCam. Love that. Washington's National Cherry Blossom Festival Parade, though set for next month, has been canceled. Winds news time 3:51. Time for traffic and transit. Greg Rice.
Bridge, we go to Nassau. Here's what we see on Long Island Big 3. We see a mess eastbound Northern Street getting over the Wantagh. That's where you go from 3 lanes to 2 anyway. And now on top of that, downtown Wantagh Parkway subject to closure at Old Country Road because of a rollover. What do? If you got to go south, you go to the Steve Croix today. And eastbound through Nassau County, stay with the LIE back to the southern states. They are just fine. Westbound Long Island Expressway in Queens, getting better over towards Casino Boulevard as we pick up some eastbound brake lines getting out towards the Cross Island Parkway. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Not a whole lot. Everything across the Hudson and the East River in pretty good shape. Alternate sides suspended in the city through at least tomorrow. Staten Island Ferry down to 3 boats during rush hour during each hour instead of the usual 4. Traffic sponsored by the Link Home Care. Gotta think Link. Link Home Care provides unparalleled home care 24/7 to those in need. They are not just another agency. Link is family, serving all 5 boroughs to make the transition to home care smooth and easy for everyone. Visit linkhomecare.com to learn more. Link Home Care. You gotta think Link. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 WINS.
And let's get the update on that rainy forecast. AccuWeather meteorologist Dave Bowers.
That's what it is, too. Yeah, rain or drizzle, which is going to continue here for several more hours. By 8 o'clock or so, it's going to be done. It'll be ending west to east, leaving us just with clouds the rest of the night, below about 37 degrees. Then with high pressure nosing in here, we can look for a nicer day tomorrow. Partly sunny, milder, high about 55. That doesn't last long. The next storm comes along on Wednesday with, once again, a chilly rain. And temperatures in the 40s. And then we're back in the mid-50s again on Thursday as we get the sun back out. 39 degrees and raining right now in Central Park, going down to 37 in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Dave Bowers on New York's weather station, 10-10 Winds.
Winds noon time 3:53. Let's go overseas now, where Italy has started putting in place further restrictions in a desperate bid to slow the spread of coronavirus there. Let's get an update from correspondent Ian Pinnell.
Italy waiting to ever tighter restrictions on movement as the death toll from coronavirus now closes in on 5,500 people and the number of cases near 60,000. One medic saying they're not eating or even going to the bathroom during their shift because they need to preserve their protective gear.
I'm not concerned for myself. The only problem is that I'm worried that if I get sick, I cannot help anymore.
And now Spain in crisis, facing the third highest death toll in the world.
Well, Spain has more than 33,000 total confirmed cases, 2,200 deaths. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel is in home quarantine after she tested positive. And there so far are 111 coronavirus deaths in Germany. Back here at home, New York State is supposed to hold its presidential primary on April 28th, but a state senator from Orange County is introducing a bill to move it to June 23rd and consolidate it with the elections for state lawmakers and members of Congress. Amazon hiring, as is Walmart, and now Domino's too. They need 2,000 team members for their franchise, which includes more than 280 outlets in the tri-state. Jobs include drivers, customer service reps, and managers. Well, today is National Puppy Day, and maybe a photo will help you get through the day. However, with people staying indoors, animal shelters have had to cancel a lot of adoption events, which they are, of course, hoping to reschedule when the crisis is over. Money Watch in a minute. Wins news time 3:55.
I'm PBA President Pat Lynch. Right now, police officers, healthcare workers, and so many other essential employees are heading to work. We can't stay home. Our mission comes first. We have to protect you on the front lines of a global health crisis. And we're not just battling the virus. We're still fighting crime, responding to emergencies, and keeping our city running. Yes, these are the jobs we signed up for. But we aren't the only ones who sacrifice. Our families are sacrificing along with us, and they bear the greatest burden. They support us through long hours and uncertain schedules. They share our stress and our fatigue. And if we're exposed to the virus at work, they should be exposed too. So when you think about the cops and other frontline workers who are still on the job and at risk, remember, we aren't alone. Our families are on the front lines too, and they deserve all of our respect.
Paid for by the Police Benevolent Association of the City of New York, Inc.
Wins news time 3:56. Bloomberg Money Watch time. Here's Andrew O'Day.
Mostly lower on Wall Street, heading toward the closing bell. Dow losing 373, counting earlier losses. NASDAQ, in fact, a little higher, gaining 11. S&P 500 still down 50. The traders wait for signs of progress on the congressional spending package to blunt the fallout from the pandemic, and they don't really see much progress. First hard-hit metro area in the U.S. from the virus was Seattle, and it keeps on hitting its hometown. Big employer, Boeing, navigating one of the biggest disruptions to global travel in modern history. Boeing says it's now suspending all factory production in the Seattle area beginning today and winding down all activity by Wednesday. It leaves one Boeing factory open in South Carolina. Already beset by the now more than year-long grounding of Boeing 737 MAX jets following two deadly crashes. And amid this current COVID-19 crisis, which all but ensures stunted demand for new airplanes for the foreseeable future, Boeing partner GE Aviation is downsizing the division of General Electric, cutting 10% of its total U.S. workforce. Bloomberg Money Watch is 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day. 10-10 wins.
And still ahead on 10-10 wins, the closing bell, top stories, and AccuWeather. Wins news time 3:57.
Be amazing. Be generous. Be thoughtful. Become an eye, organ, and tissue donor. There are thousands of New Yorkers who need sight and life-restoring transplants, but they're depending on us to help. Simply go to idonation.org on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and enroll in the New York State Donate Life Registry. Do it today. It only takes a minute. The Eye Bank of New York has provided the beautiful gift of sight to more than 65,000 men, women, and children since 1944. Go to idonation.org. That's idonation.org. Sign up to be an eye, organ, and tissue donor. Give the gift of sight and life to a fellow New Yorker. Become a donor and sign up today. It only takes a minute to be amazing. Be generous. Be thoughtful. The Eye Bank of New York. Give the gift of sight and life.
Do you know what brand sells the most work shoes in America? Skechers. Why? Skechers has the best looking safety toe and slip resistant shoes around. They've got superior quality and simply incredible prices. But many people get them just for the style. So you can enjoy tough, steel toe protection and slip resistant soles anywhere, even if you don't need them for work. And since they're Skechers, you know they're going to be comfortable with Skechers exclusive air-cooled memory foam. Find your new pair of Skechers safety toe and slip resistant work shoes at a Skechers store, at Skechers.com, or wherever work shoes are sold.
Welcome back to Sports News. Next topic. Is it really all about power? Makes me think of Progressive Name Your Price tool. Gives you the power to find options based on your budget. Let's go to Chuck for an irrelevant analogy.
Man, back in the day, people didn't ask how many oranges are in a crate. They just took the oranges. They didn't say, are there 6, 7, 12, 15, whatever. It was just oranges. You get me?
We get you, Chuck. In a word, oranges.
Give it to us straight with the Progressive Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and coverage not limited by
I present to you 3 of the fewest subjects ever assembled in the age of doom. Algebra 2 for languages and biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge? Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college. Find out which classes you need at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
City streets or small towns, everyone deserves a clean, green community. We are Keep America Beautiful, the nonprofit working to end littering, improve recycling, and beautify communities. Let's do beautiful things. Visit KAB.org.
There's the closing bell on Wall Street. This is Andrew O'Day of Bloomberg. Mostly down day and mostly lower finish for the market. The Dow ending down 597, NASDAQ off 18. And you are listening to 1010 WINS, WINS, WINS HD, and WNEW HD3, New York.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 WINS. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon, 39 degrees, rain falling right now. It's 4 o'clock. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. More testing for the coronavirus, and that means more confirmed cases. A lot more, says Governor Cuomo, as he moves to open hospital annexes to handle the load. We're up to 20,000 people in New York carrying the virus. A good chunk of them right here in the boroughs. Mayor de Blasio says about a third of all COVID-19 cases in New York. He's still pushing the Fed to send help, and says he isn't so sure when it will come. President Trump touting a 100% cure rate of the virus soon, although an infectious diseases expert doesn't seem to agree. The president also believes 15 days should be enough to stop the coronavirus spread, and he wrote it in all caps on his Twitter account. And wastewater giant Suez North America says, please stop flushing those wipes down the toilet. You're clogging the system. The company says many of today's wipes aren't as advertised and not toilet friendly at all. It's Monday. Your afternoon news begins right now. AccuWeather says damp and cold, rain into the evening, a high of 44, mostly cloudy tonight, low 40 degrees. Winds news time 4:01, and now from your Ram Trucks Traffic Center, expanded traffic and transit for the afternoon commute. Good afternoon, Mr. Greg Rice.
Well, Mr. Mullins, good afternoon to you. Bad weather means a whole lot busier on our roads, even on a day like this than we were just a week ago. Eastbound Long Island Expressway getting word of an accident getting over towards the Cross Island Parkway and into Little Neck Parkway. We're pulling up the 1010 WINS jam cams, and it looks like we have at least the left lane shut down, but you've got options eastbound Grand Central if you're not in a truck. That'll do better for you. Nassau County, here's what we see on Long Island State 3. We see the eastbound northern state into the Wausau. That's the one to avoid. Still bunched up. Southbound Wausau, it was shut at Old Country Road. It's been reopened, but it is still a bit bunched up. getting through that stretch. In New Jersey, they're looking at a rollover on 287 northbound, getting up to Bridgewater, and Route 202 left and central lanes are shut down. Getting through the area, and in Newark 21 southbound over at Chester Avenue, that accident has 2 lanes knocked out. Now, alternate side is suspended in the city through at least tomorrow. They are expected to reassess at some point before that suspension expires to see if they want to extend that. C trains are running again, but some A trains are still local to try to make up the difference. And the Staten Island Ferry during rush hour now dropping down to 3 boats per hour instead of the usual 4. So boats every 20 minutes during rush hour on the Staten Island Ferry instead of every 15. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 West.
And we begin with an understatement from the newsman, folks, everybody. The numbers are jarring, but Governor Cuomo says not surprising. More testing leads to a clearer picture of just how many people have the coronavirus. We already know New York is the center of the outbreak here in the U.S., with 5,700 new cases tracked in the last 24 hours and rising. The governor says the significant increase, that's what he calls it, helps to identify where the bulk of the problem is, so we can go about figuring out a way to contain the spread, like increasing hospital capacity, and hopefully soon start down the road to rekindling the state's economy. Is where we begin on this Monday afternoon. Newsman Al Jones leading us off.
With more than 20,000 New Yorkers now testing positive for coronavirus, Governor Cuomo working to rein in anxiety.
Many will get it. Up to 80% may get it. But few are truly endangered.
The governor's mandating all hospitals increase capacity by 50% and says another shipment of protective clothing is being moved from the state's stockpile to New York City.
But today, there is no one who we can't cover. Pardon the pun with the mask.
Cuomo repeating his call to the president to direct factories to produce more medical supplies, and with the economy all but shut down, plans are already being made for the eventual restart.
At one point, you have to open the valve, because that is oxygen for the economy, and this is not sustainable.
But he adds in the next few months, life will be very quiet. Al Jones, 1010 News.
Mayor de Blasio says we have 10,764 confirmed cases now in the city with 99 fatalities. At a news briefing earlier, he says he's hopeful the Fed will come through, but he says he won't believe it until he sees it. Here's Sonia Rincon.
The mayor says he had a detailed conversation last night with the president and vice president, emphasizing not just the need for critical medical supplies, which could run out in days.
The fact that we're going to need a lot more medical personnel going forward. The fact that we must have this stimulus bill support private hospitals and public hospitals that are not going to be able to provide services to people unless we get federal direct aid.
He tells 1010 Wind's Elmhurst Hospital has been especially strange because Queens has fewer hospitals per capita, and Queens as a borough is seeing a lot of cases right now. He says the NYPD is already enforcing social distancing in public places like parks.
What Commissioner Shea wants to do at first is educate people, warn people, remind people to keep moving.
And he says he's hopeful people will understand and tougher measures like closures or arrests won't be needed. The mayor is also expected to announce a plan to release about 200 jail inmates, like those with certain health conditions, those deemed least likely to reoffend, and those nearly at the end of their sentences. Sonia Rincon, 1010 Wins News.
Regarding schools, 1.1 million school kids started that new remote learning program today. Yep. And the mayor says he doesn't see public schools reopening either until April as initially thought. City schools closed on March 15. Mayor said at the time that April 20th would be our target return date, but now that's looking kind of iffy at best. Now let's talk about the New York economy. The city comptroller, Scott Stringer, says if this thing keeps up, the city's probably looking at wiping $6 billion with a B dollars off the books in tax revenue. That's in stark contrast to what he estimated a week ago when he said the coronavirus would cost the city about $3.2 billion in tax money. He called in to the 1010 West News hotline today.
We obviously see a loss of...
And glums happened very quickly here at the Fire Academy in Yaphank. Residents who had extra brought the items. Some got out of their vehicles and walked over to the group of volunteers wearing masks. Others drove up and handed the items quickly over and then went on their way. The items are in short supply and will be given to healthcare workers who are taking care of those sickened by the coronavirus. Sophia Hall, WCBS News Radio 880.
Coming up in 3 minutes, the company that needs 50,000 new workers because of the pandemic. It's 4:07 at WCBS.
This is Dr. Jan Schwartzmiller, Chief Medical Officer of Atlantic Health System, with important information concerning the coronavirus outbreak. If you're experiencing symptoms, including a fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and think you've been exposed to coronavirus, call your doctor. Atlantic Health also offers telehealth services staffed by expert physicians who are specifically trained in assisting coronavirus cases. Telehealth allows you to stay at home and visit the doctor virtually. Keep in mind, most people who contract coronavirus will experience mild symptoms and can self-manage from the comfort of their homes. Staying at home will allow you to recover faster and decrease the spread to others. We continuously urge you to follow preventive actions right now to limit the spread. Practice social distancing of 6 feet. Remember to wash your hands often. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Cover your cough and clean frequently touched surfaces routinely. For more information, visit atlantichealth.org.
WCBS News Time 4:08. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 8th film with an update on 287 in New Jersey. There's some trouble in Bridgewater, Michael, northbound before Route 202. The trouble is a truck flipped over. You've got a couple of lanes blocked. You're already looking at about a 2 to a 3 mile backup. 78 is moving well. 280, 80, all A-OK. Northbound Western Spur, not A-OK. North of 15W, there is an accident. Southbound Route 21 by Chester Avenue in Newark, you've got an accident. And southbound Route 23 getting out of the ramp to southbound 287 in Riverdale. The ongoing emergency repairs to a sinkhole are still keeping that ramp closed and detoured. Westchester County 287 is looking good. The Hutch, the Spray, and the Bronx River Parkway A-OK too. Still have the speed restriction on the Tappan Zee Bridge, 35 miles an hour. Same on the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. And in Rockland, the Thruway and the Palisades Parkway, they're all A-OK as well. Not good though on Long Island. Still jammed up southbound side of the Wantagh Parkway. Right as you're getting away from the northern states, still have an accident there. An accident involving a flipped over vehicle that's leaving only one lane open. Next traffic update less than 10 minutes away on WCBS. Now to the Weather Center, and we say good afternoon to our chief meteorologist, Craig Allen. Not great weather today, Craig.
Not at all. We really lost out on this one. We've had some pretty good weather to help us through, to help get us through over the last couple of weeks, but this is quite the storm out there, and in some places, especially near the coast, this is a wind-driven rain. Kennedy just reported a gust up to 38 miles per hour, so you've got that wind, the rain and drizzle blowing straight at you. There's no more wet snow in the immediate listening area, but there's still wet snow falling up in northern sections of Connecticut. A 1 to 3 inch snowfall, extreme northern New Jersey on up into the Hudson Valley, mid-Hudson Valley up towards 84, same thing in Connecticut. But it's now changing over to rain even there, cold rain at that. Now this will gradually taper down later tonight and start to clear, 35 to 40. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, much milder, a better day, 54 to 58. But back to rain on Wednesday and chilly temperatures too. It'll be in the middle 40s. Right now in the city, we are up to 40. Big deal. Humidity 93%. And an east-northeast wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour.
Thanks, Craig. 410 at WCBS. Governor Murphy signed an executive order today banning elective surgeries and dental procedures in New Jersey for the time being. That'll reduce the burden on the healthcare industry and fight the spread of coronavirus. Operations are still allowed for serious conditions that require immediate attention. Abortions are also still allowed in New Jersey. CVS Pharmacy plans to hire 50,000 full-time, part-time, and temporary workers. The company says it needs store associates, home delivery drivers, distribution center employees, and customer service professionals. Current employees will be getting paid sick leave, family leave, and small bonuses for keeping their jobs during the pandemic. Interviews for the new employees will be conducted virtually. Crews in Norfolk, Virginia are finishing up maintenance on the Navy hospital ship Comfort, which should arrive in New York City by mid-April. That ship features 1,000 beds, 12 operating rooms, and up to 1,200 doctors and nurses. The Comfort will actually treat non-coronavirus patients. That'll relieve the pressure on the city's hospitals during the pandemic. 411 at WCBS. When you need to know the latest news, Cuomo continues to insist that he has no plans for things like roadblocks and mass quarantine. When you're looking for answers,
We're disinfecting subway cars, buses, stations twice a day.
it matters where you get your news. The state's testing capability
10 times in the last week.
CBS News Radio 880.
And indeed, we understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Good nights of frozen folded eggs and barely there bacon in America. Wendy's is now serving up breakfast, and it's gonna be amazing. chicken biscuits or get them delivered. Drop off at Commute. Order by 10 a.m. No delivery fee. Minimum $10 order offer in 4 states. Delivery available at participating points. Third-party service fees may apply. Drug weapon first aid for DJs.
412 at WCBS. Now look at sports with Rick Ackerman.
Who knows when sports will return? At the very least, there is nothing before mid-May, and it could be longer. Today, the International Olympic Committee postponed the Summer Olympics, which were scheduled for Tokyo in July. They'll now take place in 2021. Both Canada and Australia, among others, have been calling for the games to be pushed back. Toronto Blue Jays president Mark Shapiro said he believes baseball would need a month to get ready once cleared to play. Opening day was scheduled for Thursday. The Giants have reportedly re-signed wide receiver Corey Coleman, who had torn his ACL on the first day of training camp last summer. I'm Rick Ackerman, WCBS 880 Sports.
Home, where you feel safe, sheltered from the elements, and free to be yourself. Where you work hard and laugh loud. Where the pace of life slows down enough for you to remember the little things. It's that sense of the familiar, your favorite spot to relax and refresh as the day winds down. That's why at Unified, our experts are working hard to deliver quality products for your home, caring about the details and creating solutions that perform as beautifully as they look. Providing you with all your home improvement needs, Unified is by your side throughout the whole process. Because at the end of the day, we love home too. We know it's what's in your home that really matters. At Unified, we know it's more than just the house. It's your home. To schedule a free estimate, call 888-631-2131 or visit unifiedhomeremodel.com.
Gary Goldberg Financial Services. Money management for real people. Call 1-800-377-5757.
Is your marketing more fairy tale than reality? In real life, the tortoise gets crushed. Good products don't sell themselves, and out of sight means out of business. Didit delivers marketing for today. DIDIT.com.
This is Nora O'Donnell. At CBS News, what makes our reporting stand out is context, depth, and analysis. Join me weeknights at 6:30 for the CBS Evening News. And listen for my top-of-the-hour CBS Newscast weekdays at 5 p.m. on the radio home for CBS News in New York, WCBS 880.
You're never more than 15 minutes from the big stories on WCBS.
Good Monday afternoon. I'm Michael Wallace. 3 things to know at 4:15. 1, New Jersey Supreme Court has ordered the release of some county jail inmates to limit contagion of coronavirus behind bars. Number 2, Governor Cuomo is trying to increase the number of hospital beds in New York State. He's ordered all existing ones to increase capacity by at least 50%. And he's fast-tracking plans to turn the Javits Center into a hospital complex with another 1,000 beds. 3, the calls have gone out for retired doctors and nurses and medical students to join the response to the coronavirus pandemic. WCBS's Peter Haskell reports students at Mount Sinai already answering the call.
When the school year started, Travis Bottom figured she'd be in a regular routine right now. The 23-year-old is a third-year med student at Mount Sinai.
We would be in our clinical rotations on the floors learning.
But these conditions are anything but routine. Now Boddick and her classmates are stepping forward.
We felt like it was our duty to kind of be able to support our healthcare system.
They won't work with patients, but will help with the pharmacy and administrative tasks.
I'm grateful that some of the things that we've learned in medical school are fruitful at the moment, and that we can be useful and helpful to the healthcare system.
The system needs the extra hands. Peter Haskell, WCBS News Radio 880.
A well-known survivor of Ebola is worried about the current wave of coronavirus patients in New York City. Craig Spencer says hospitals are being overrun by infected patients. Spencer is a doctor himself. He worked for 13 hours yesterday in the ER at New York Presbyterian Columbia Medical Center. He's putting the rate of infection around 90% for people getting tested. 6 years ago, Spencer became New York's first Ebola patient after responding to the outbreak in Africa. New York City's courts are in the process of switching strictly to virtual proceedings. Parties involved in criminal and family court will make their appearances over video connections. Court workers will still have to show up in person to coordinate everything. That's something that's drawing some complaints. The change is expected to take place sometime next week. Convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein is now in isolation because he has tested positive for the coronavirus. He recently began a 23-year sentence at the Wendy Correctional Facility near Buffalo. He was previously locked up at Rikers, where a number of other inmates were passing around the virus. Word of Weinstein's infection came from the State Correctional Officers Union. Weinstein is 68 years old, putting him at a heightened risk of serious illness or death. WCBS News Time 4:18. Traffic and weather together on the 8, sponsored by your local Mazda dealers. Jim Feldman with some path delays.
Yeah, Newark to World Trade Line is delayed, Michael, because of network communication problems at Newark. New Jersey Transit operating on a President's Day holiday schedule with some modifications, but no issues on Metro North or LIRR, though LIRR does have ticket offices closed, including those at Penn Station, Jamaica, and Atlantic Terminal, so use the ticket machines or the MTA e-tickets app to get your tickets. And the subway C-Train service is still having that frequency of every 20 minutes, but at least it has resumed. It had been suspended pretty much the entire day, and while we get trains back on a regular schedule, some A trains will still be making some local stops. 2 Long Islands, southbound on the Wantagh Parkway, south of the northern state. An earlier accident's finally been cleared away. You're looking good in Queens on the Jackie Robinson Parkway. Still a little slow on the eastbound side of the LIE as you're getting past Little Neck Parkway. An earlier crash there has been cleared. No issues at all on the Whitestone, the Throgs Neck, or the RFK Triborough bridges, and the Lower East River crossings, too. You've got no delays at the Williamsburg Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, or the Battery Tunnel there. FDR, Henry Hudson Parkway are all moving A-OK, too. Next traffic update less than 10 minutes away on WCBS.
Now the 5-day forecast with our chief meteorologist, Craig Allen. Tomorrow sounds better.
Tomorrow's much better, a much nicer afternoon, back to the kind of weather that we've been having for the most part this past winter, and today is a throwback to what would be considered March coming in like a lion type of weather with this storm that's developing offshore. It is raining. There's rain and drizzle. No more wet snow even in our northern suburbs right now, unless you get on up into the extreme northern sections of Connecticut. And the rain is heavy at times, and it's wind-driven rain, too. If you're near the coast, you're getting gusts right now between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight between 35 and 40. The rain will taper down later this evening, and then gradual clearing overnight. And then the better weather comes tomorrow, 54 to 58, but it clouds up again Tuesday night, and by Wednesday, we might be right back to this again. No snow this time. It looks like it'll be mild enough from start to finish, but mid-40s and a rainy day. Thursday, mostly sunny, back up to 54 to 58. And the Altis 5-day forecast Friday, variably cloudy, quite mild, near 60. But showers will be developing late Friday or Friday night into Saturday. Now, humidity 93%, and for the city, it's a northeast wind at 10, but again, gusting much higher in some coastal areas.
Thanks, Craig. 4:20 at WCBS. If you need to catch a bus, you can only enter and exit through the rear doors. MTA Chairman Pat Foy tells WCBS.
That is in the interest of public health of the bus operators, but also cognizant, recognizing the fact that transit workers are critical first responders and are going to be a major part of bringing the city and region back.
Only disabled riders will be able to board at the front of the bus. Riders are not allowed to sit in the first 3 rows behind the driver. Those rows on a lot of buses are closed off by yellow chains now.